Yahweh or the Anunnaki? Which one would you choose to serve? Or are you saying, could I have a choice C? That's the way I feel about it. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge, and we're going to take a look-see at something that, my lower back's a little sore and the muscles from working out, but we're going to take a look-see at something that I believe was dropped into my orbit by Tracy Dyer, who sent me just this one random scripture. And I looked it up and saw it to be very deep, and it's very interesting. And I was just thinking about being unindoctrinated and really to understand those that, I guess it's not so odd, really, that I'm pretty much the only one that does what I do, because my background is so unique. My background's not unique, but the combination of background and where I am today is almost wholly unique, because I was sold out the whole route, ladies and gentlemen, completely born again. I was 20 years a Pentecostal preacher. We were effectively the Jesuits of the Protestant movement. And I mean, Pentecostal preachers, Pentecostal evangelists especially, man, they are the hired guns of the Protestant movement, literally. The Jesuits of the Protestant movement, the hardcore, let's get it done, whatever it takes type of people. And I was that for 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. If it's possible, you can do an Epsom salt bath. That's a good idea. And I was hardcore. And then to move from hardcore Pentecostal, a hardcore Sabbath keeping, feast keeping individual, to move into the Kabbalistic realms, and then to move into whatever realm in the world that we're in now. That's really from one end of the spectrum almost to the other. And unindoctrination, true unindoctrination, requires a brokenness. First, it requires an indoctrination. If you're really going to know what the indoctrination is, you have to have been indoctrinated yourself. And then to find a brokenness, you have to have a brokenness to be really unindoctrinated, because you have to have your entire world has to crumble before you can let it go and literally let it slip through your fingers. So to get to the place where you can see things from the perspective that I see them, it's certainly possible for you, but it's a long, hard, dark, dirty process that not many people are willing to partake in. So that's why you don't hear much of what I say, and you don't see much people doing what I do. And that's why it's important, I think, for us to continue to be here and to do this. And I appreciate all of your help and all of your support. And I'm looking forward to meeting some of you out in the desert. And hopefully, I just have this feeling that by this time next year, we will have had a few events under our belt around the country or in a central location that's very helpful for everybody to be able to come to and to enjoy themselves and to seek some understandings. And I just have this vision of some NCK centers, groups of fellowship across the country, across the world, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So today we're going to talk about the Anunnaki or Yahweh. And again, I've read this verse 1,000 times, but yet what Tracy saw in it, I didn't see in it until today, literally. And it's Joshua 24:15. And I'm pretty sure it was Tracy that brought this to my attention. Joshua 24:15. And a lot of you, some of you have this posted on your door, and some of you know this, and some of you have quoted this. And it's it's a very simple verse. And if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord or to serve Yahweh, choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. So people annotate that, they shorten it. It's usually what you'll hear as, choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. And I just love, they call themselves quoting that verse, but as you can see, they leave out this whole first part They leave out this whole middle part. And all they have is that second part and that last part. Choose this day whom you will serve, but as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. Most of you thought that was the whole verse. It's not. The whole verse says, and if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you'll serve, whether the gods your fathers served on the other side of the flood, really the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose lands you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. A little bit of, and I hate to get into start rocking your hobby horse or really knocking your hobby horse over. Joshua was written, somewhere between 6 and 500 BC, probably written around 550 BC. And this was written when Joshua's people were still in Babylonian captivity. So even though it says, in the land of the Amorites where you're living, that's not really accurate because they were in the land of the Akkadians. They were still in Babylon when he wrote this. So there's intentional deception there. But I want to call your attention to a couple of things. Even back in 550 BC, there were some new cosmic knowledge believers. You didn't know I'd been around that long, did you? Back in 550 BC, and I'm 55, so that's interesting, but back in 550 BC, there were some people that were saying it was evil to serve Yahweh. Just like I'm saying today, it's evil to serve Yahweh. And let's look at that word evil so we can know exactly what we're talking about. But yeah, 550 BC, NCK had already been established. I bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that either. But if it seems evil, ladies and gentlemen, which means if it seems bad, I would say it's bad to serve Yahweh because Yahweh certainly ain't serving you. If it's bad, yes, I would say it's disagreeable to serve Yahweh. I'd say it's malignant to serve Yahweh. I'd say it's unpleasing to serve Yahweh. I'd say it brings you pain to serve Yahweh. I'd say it brings you unhappiness. I'd say it brings you misery. I'd say it brings you evil days of trial and hardship. I would say all these things. I'd say it's displeasing. I'd say it's of low value to serve Yahweh. And it's certainly going to make you unhappy. So that's all the connotations of this word. But there were people in 550 BC. And think about it, folks. There was a number of these people. Because if you're Joshua and you're writing a book, you're not going to mention something that is insignificant. If it was significant enough to be mentioned in the book of Joshua that people were serving, people were saying, believing it was evil, wrong, unauspicious, not good to serve Yahweh, then that means there was quite a group of those cousins. There were some new cosmic cousins back in 550 BC saying, whoa, wait a minute. We don't want to serve this joker. We think that it's evil to serve this joker. And here's why they thought it was evil to serve this joker. Because look at this word right here, to serve. Look at what that word really means. To work, to serve, to become slaves. If you think it's evil, if you think it's not, if you think it's no bueno, if in your sight it's no bueno to be Yahweh's slave, you had some new cosmic cousins in 550 BC, and you got some new cosmic cousins in almost 2019 as well. Because I'll tell you right here and right now that I think it's bad in my eyes to be a slave of the little rat bastard. I think it's bad in my eyes. I've looked at it. I've evaluated it. I've studied it for almost 40 years. I'm 55. I mean, for 37 years, I've studied this daily, hours. But you say 100,000 hours, that would mean this many. Do the math. It works, and just shut up. Get that corn out of my face. I don't want to hear it. But in my eyes, it does seem evil to be a slave of Yahweh. And it's not that I have anything personal against the little rat bastard, even though I do. I don't want to be a slave to anybody. I don't want to be a slave to any God. I don't want to be a slave to any deity. I don't want to be a slave to any church. I don't want to be a slave to anyone or anything. I don't even want to be a slave to me. I don't have the shirt on today, but I want to be divine. I want to be sovereign. I want to be free. I don't want to be anybody's slave. And I'm not going to be. I made that decision at least 10 years ago. 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I made that decision. I'm not going to be anybody's slave. And there were some other new cosmic cousins that beat me to it, because in 550 BC, there were people that were saying, look, we are not going to be Yahweh's slave. So Joshua tells them, well, then you need to go ahead and choose. You need to go ahead and make a choice, ladies and gentlemen. You need to go ahead and choose. Choose for yourselves this day which gods you will serve. Wasn't I just saying that the other day? The elect choose, the elect who they want to serve. And I didn't have this plan then. I started thinking about this. I took a nap for about 10 minutes before this. I started thinking about this about 20 minutes ago. Tracy said Joshua 24:15. She said a couple other words. I don't even remember. I put it on the whiteboard. I looked up there. Oh, Joshua 24:15. I thought about it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And here we are. So I know people sit out there and think, oh, and I miss my old chair. I know people sit out there and think, oh, Jeff plans these things, and he's planned and he's scripted the placement of these podcasts, and they all come together, and he's weaving this web. And you give me way too much credit. I get an idea, I make a podcast. I learned that from Rex Bear. You get an idea, make a podcast. Something good happens, make a podcast. Something bad happens, make a podcast. If nothing happens, make a podcast about nothing happening. Why is nothing happening? It's the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as much as 11 podcasts in one day. Rex Bear is the hardest working guy on YouTube, and I like to think I'm the second hardest working guy on YouTube. And I probably should work smarter and not harder, but this is what I do. This is what I like to do, and I have fun doing it. So I don't plan these things. And when they come together, and I need my damn cigars, because I do love it when a plan comes together. In Cousins, this comes together when you're talking about a few days ago saying that the elect choose the gods that they want to serve. And then you come back here saying that if you think it's wrong to be the slave of Yahweh, choose for yourself. Choose for yourself whom you're going to serve. Which God? Which God? Now, getting to the Anunnaki or Yahweh part, which gods are you going to serve? Serve the gods your fathers served. I've talked to you before in days past. Go back to your roots. My roots are Irish, so I look at the Tuatha De Danann. I look at the Celtic gods. Which God am I going to serve? Or I could serve the Native American gods. I could serve any God I want to serve, or I could serve no God. But choose the gods that you're going to serve. You might look at your father's gods, your mother's gods. You might even look at your cousin's gods. Which God are you going to serve? Well, which God serves you? Which God do you align with? Which God do you have affinity with? The gods that your father served? Well, maybe. Or how about the gods whose land you dwell in? The gods whose land you dwell in. Here's where we get to the Anunnaki, cousins. Because Joshua wrote this from Babylon. And in Babylon, the gods they were serving was these ancient Mesopotamian gods and goddesses. So Joshua was actually saying, if you don't want to choose Yahweh, maybe you want Tiamat, the primordial goddess of the oceans. Tiamat's one of the earliest known Babylonian entities. Or maybe you want to choose Enlil, one of the Mesopotamian supreme gods. And their triad, does that sound like Trinity? I wonder why. Or maybe you want to serve Enki or Ea. Joshua, Book of Joshua, talking about the Akkadian, the Babylonian, the Anunnaki gods. Or maybe you want to serve Marduk. Or maybe you want to serve Inanna or Ishtar. Speaking of, are you busty? Are you busy? It's a callback to earlier days. Maybe you want to serve Nana or Sin. Maybe you want to serve Shamash or Utu. Maybe you want to serve Nisaba. Can I get a Nisaba with some, what's that green stuff? Wasabi on the side. Ashur. Or maybe you want to serve Ninkashi. But that's exactly what Joshua's saying here, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua's saying, do you want to serve Yahweh? Do you want to be Yahweh's slave? Or do you want to be the slave of these other gods? But does the word slave come in? Serve other gods or serve, or the gods which your father, does this carry the connotation it does? It's the same thing. So he's saying to us, which God do you want to be a slave of? And of course, we say, no, thank you. We don't want to be the slave of Yahweh. We don't want to be the slave of any of the Mesopotamian pantheon. We don't want to be the slave of any God. Do you want to serve? And see how they're trying to set us up. They're trying to paint us. They're trying to NLP us. They're trying to give us an alternate choice closed between two choices they want us to make. Don't let them get you with a closed-in question, ladies and gentlemen. A closed question requires either a yes or no or a simple one or two answer. Do you want to serve Yahweh or do you want to serve the Anunnaki? That's a closed-end alternate choice question. A little bit of sales here. Would you like it in red or would you like it in blue? Do you want us to deliver it today or do you want us to deliver it next week? Do you want the 2-door or the 4-door? Do you want to close in 3 months or in 6 months? Those are alternate choice closes that salespeople use on you. If you really want to mess with their heads, if they say, do you want it in red or black? Say, does it come with green? Does it come in green? Or anyway, we won't get into sales school, but they're trying to pigeonhole you into making a choice. I'm here today to tell you that you don't have to make a choice. It's not a choice between serving Yahweh and the Anunnaki. I could serve Yahweh, I could serve the Anunnaki, or I could serve the Nobody. Nobody. Or I could serve another God that I choose. Or I could serve no God. I could just serve my damn self. I am my own God. And in a way, you really are. So the way they form this question that so many of you Christians quote, choose this day whom you will serve. Well, it tells us a few things. It tells us, number one, even back in 550 BC, we had some cousins, some NCK cousins that didn't want to be Yahweh's slave. And Joshua was boxing them in. It's called boxing and closing. Joshua was boxing him up, saying, okay, do you want to serve Yahweh, be his slave, or do you want to be slaves of one of these other gods? Make a choice. And there were still some cousins back in 550 BC that said, no, we're not going to choose any of those. We're going to choose this day whom we're going to serve. And right now we're going to serve ourselves, the deity, the divinity, the spark of divinity that's within us. We're divine, we're sovereign, we're free, and we're not for sale. We're not here on a tryout. We're here to test out the other gods. We're here to test out ourselves. I'm here to grow myself, to develop my deity, to develop that spark, to fan that spark of divinity that's in me, and to grow myself and to develop myself. And if there's some gods out there that would like to help me, I'm willing to talk. I'm not willing to worship. I'm not willing to be a slave. I might be willing to give a little praise, a little scratch. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I'm willing to be an ally. I am not willing to be your slave. I'm not willing to serve you. And I'm not going to make that choice because I don't have to make that choice. And neither do you, ladies and gentlemen. You can choose who you want to serve, or you can choose not to serve anyone or anything. You can develop your own deity, your own ascension. And if you find someone that you do like, you find someone that you do want to work with, then you can work with them. And I think there's entities out there that we would call deities that would like to work with you. And if you'd like to work with them, that's up to you. But you don't have a alternate choice reality. This is not a zero-sum game. Don't let yourself be boxed and closed. Break out of the box. Keep your options open. I say it all the time, but it's so true. Be your own guru. Guide your own spirit. Master your own ascension. And if they're serving Kool-Aid, don't drink it. If they're serving Kool-Aid, don't drink it. I will not serve. I will not worship. I will not bow the knee. I won't even pray. I'm in it to do what's best for me and most enables me to live a life of service to others while not defrauding myself. I'm not here to serve any gods. I'm here to develop my own divinity. No, I don't drink any vodka either, electric crystals. So Tracy, I didn't notice Tracy in the chat room, but that was Tracy's scripture. And yes, there were people even back then that were questioning Yahweh. So it's nothing new. There are other gods out there. Even Joshua was admitting there's other gods except other than Yahweh. So I am the Lord, the only God. No, that's not true. Tracy's here. And there's choices for you, ladies and gentlemen. There's choices for you. And there's more than two available to you. Let me look back and see if there's any questions. Or, you know what, just global witnesses in the chat room, the Anunnaki, the ones waiting to harvest the masses, they're very hungry. They are very hungry. Meme, whatever. Jeff, it nautically fits. Jeff, it naturally fits. You know what? If you have questions, throw them at me now. Caroline, yes, that is so powerful, not only for self, but for everyone. Yes, appreciate that very much. The Dead Sea Scrolls, Deuteronomy 2 shows Yahweh was his son. Meme, get off of it. I don't care. Thank you for sharing your opinions, but that's not what we're talking about. Move along. Whether he's a son or a father, you get a choice to serve him or not. That's the point. If you want to preach your own sermon, get your own channel. What is certain is that El was also a bloodthirsty God like Yahweh. True. And what's certain for the purposes of this presentation is you can serve El, you can serve Yahweh, or you can serve somebody else. That's what we're talking about here. We're not in here splitting hairs. And this is not the meme channel. This is NCK channel. So I'm sorry if you don't like that, but that's just the way it is. I don't think that we are the Christ. Oh, I think that we are the Christ. I do too, Judy. Hit me with some other questions if you have them. We'll get out of here before too long. I just want to make sure that I don't leave any questions. Jeffrey, the Last Stand shows are great. Keep it up. Speaking of which, thank you, Cazador. At 8 p.m. tonight, we're going to have an emergency broadcast of The Last Stand today. We're going to have an emergency broadcast of The Last Stand today. And please don't drop unsubstantiated fear-mongering rumors in my chat. We're going to have a special presentation of The Last Stand today. an emergency presentation detailing and talking about David Icke's new book with the long title that Jay showed you last night. Everything you needed to know and were never told, something like that. We're going to have that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So be looking for that. That'll be tonight. That'll be great stuff. So look for that tonight. Do we have any other questions? Did you or I find our reptilian? I'm not sure what that means. I hope that you will tune in. Be looking for that. Heather Cooper, thanks for the insightful words. Peace out. Anybody else with any questions? Love to answer them for you or do my best or find you an answer. If there's anyone that has any answers, it'll be on this channel, Zora Dax. Thank you for asking. The soul reading guy will not be on tonight. We're coordinating when the soul reading guy is going to be on, but part of the reason for the emergency broadcast is Jay Campbell got his soul reading report. And the soul reading guy read Jay's soul and my soul, and he wants to be soul brothers. So I think that's pretty good. I don't understand how Christians think Yahweh is the Father when Jesus said your father's the devil. It's a very good point, John. Very good point. I'm waiting for my report, said Tracy Dyer. Good. It's pretty heavy, says David. My teachers come from people and places, everything. Who and what have been your greatest teachers, JD? Boy, I don't experience. The experience, School of Hard Knocks, that's been my greatest teacher. It really is. It really has been. I'll sit and wait a second for a couple more questions. 1 week from today, I'll be somewhere between here and Phoenix on an airplane. They do follow Paul, John. You're exactly right. Do you think cursive has anything to do with writing curses on people? I think cursive probably has more to do with breaking curses on people than writing curses on people. If it was only for cursing people, they'd make us kids study it twice a day, but they're trying to get rid of it. Experience is a great teacher. The greatest teacher, probably. Can you tell us about the Monument Valley event? How can I go? Show up, Christine. Just show up. Go to the Global Witness YouTube channel for more details. Think about what it means to spell out a word. Absolutely. Can you explain all the caves and what you guys are expected to see or what the history is? No. I'm just a guest. So I know it's the Hopi land. I know there's caves. I know it's Monument Valley. I know there's monuments. And that's all I know, David. I'm going out there to meet Derek. I'm going out there to meet Jay. I'm going out there to meet many of you. I'm going out there to experience those holy lands. I'm going out there to experience Monument Valley. I'm going out there to see things I've never seen before. I'm going out there to be out in the desert at night and look up at the stars. I'm going out there to have a profound spiritual and intellectual experience. But as far as what's going to happen and when and where and how and why, I have no idea. I have no expectations and I have no limitations. Hebrews and Saturn worshipers. I will be energized. I don't know how the date got picked. That's what Derek picked. I think it had something to do with the fact that it's hotter than Hades in the wintertime. Cursive handwriting has been gone in public schools for 15 years. That's terrible. Terrible. I don't know anything about that mountain girl. I really don't. Hope people believe this was or will be a landing. I don't know if that's true or not either. And I'm certainly not looking for that. I will leave the wetsuit at home. I'm not going to wear that. I think we're going to be just fine, ladies and gentlemen. Weather-wise and stuff. It will be fun. I think it'll be very enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to it. Many of the Hebrews did follow Asherah. Asherah was the consort, the wife of El, or Yahweh. however you want to say his name, whatever you want to refer to him as, that entity. There will be lots of fellowship, I'm assuming and hoping. And I think that's going to wrap up this installment of Podcast Excellence. A lot of important things that we touched on here. A lot of important concepts that we touched on here. It starts the 29th. And a lot of important principles that are laid out here. So if you didn't catch the whole thing, I encourage you to go back to the beginning and watch it all. And I encourage you, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, to please do so now. And I encourage you to hit the like button, because when you do, it moves these videos organically higher in the ratings, so more people will take a look at them. So please, again, subscribe now if you're not subscribed, and go ahead and make sure that you haven't been unsubscribed, because for some reason that happens. Just subscribe now and subscribe to the Global Witness channel as well. My email address is newcosmicknowledge@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to encourage you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. I'm here to encourage you to unindoctrinate yourself, to create yourself, to build a life that you'll love. And that's an inside job, my friends. And we are definitely, in my view, the last generation of real humans. And it is imperative, ladies and gentlemen, that we get busy.